and we own our own stack from soup to nuts. So as I said to you earlier, basically, we don't have just a CDP and then integrate channels and then put orchestration on top. We have that in a one unified stack. So we ingest, and I think that the hub of it is that we're the only real-time ingestion of data, processing of data, and activation of data in the iGaming space.
Hi, I'm Amy Santos and welcome to Connected, a series from Pragmatic Solutions where we speak with the best of breed suppliers that are integrated to our PAM platform and give you an opportunity to hear about their products, services and the value they bring. Today I'm delighted to be speaking with Tommy Kearns, the CEO and co-founder from Extreme Push, one of today's leading suppliers. Hi Tommy, thanks for joining me. How's it going?
Great, Amy. Thank you very much for having me. I'm delighted to be here today to chat with you.
Great to have you, Tommy. Let's get straight into it. How does your solution create value for operators? What impact can it have on their business?
Yeah, Amy, great question. Maybe if I start at the highest level to who we are, what we do. So Extreme Push is a real-time CRM and loyalty platform. We've been in business now 10 years. We've about 230 or 235 sports betting and iGaming operators around the world, 5 in the top 10 operators in most markets. So we've got in the States, the Fanatics, the BetMGMs, the Caesars, the Superbets globally, the Betsons, the Live Scores, etc. And then we also have brilliant tier 1, 2s to follow up on that. And what we basically, from our perspective, we help operators understand their visitors and customers and then drive acquisition, drive the stimulation of engagement and also more influencing product buys, etc. And then also driving growth, cross-sell, upsell and long-term, lifetime value through loyalty. So that's what we do in a nutshell.
Yep, so obviously there's a lot of tools out there, Tommy. So what is it that sets yours apart from your competitors?
Yeah, well, I think, when you think about the capabilities needed in a CRM, and maybe you go back and again, historically, there's been point solutions, 6-7 years ago, then it was multi-channel, then it was CDPs in silos, then it was, integrate channels into CDPs. What sets us apart is 3 main pillars. One is purely on the actual capabilities of the system. Because we're focused on the sector, we have a horizontal technology platform, but focused on the nuances of the capabilities in the iGaming sector, very different than financial or publishing or e-commerce, etc. So we have very deep capabilities within the platform, all right? And we own our own stack from soup to nuts. So as I said to you earlier, basically, we don't have just a CDP and then integrate channels and then put orchestration on top. We have that in a one unified stack. So we ingest, and I think that the hub of it is that we're the only real-time ingestion of data, processing of data and activation of data in the iGaming space. And then what we have the ability to do is also join that up in a unified approach to gamification, so free-to-play games to stimulate and bring them back and drive, player days, etc. And also then have the loyalty solution as well as that, again, within the same solution. And there's a huge compelling reason for that, because they're close together, you're breaking down silos, you're able to get use cases away very quickly, and the real-time nature of iGaming, be it sports betting or casino, etc., you need that ingestion and activation in real time, and that's where we just win. That's on the capability side. If you think about the people, I said 3 pillars. The people, we're in the iGaming space about 6 or 7 years now, right? We're 10 years in business, and in that 6 years, we've managed to hire top iGaming talent into our business that are basically helping our client partners so they understand the problems because they've been in the industry for so long, and then they can actually help drive those solutions. So we talk about experts in the room, put experts in the room on a people side, to drive those ROIs and lifetime values and use cases, etc., for clients. And I think the last piece around why we stand out is around the customer centricity of ourselves and our product. Should start with that because everything starts with the customer, but basically we have this philosophy within XP, which is customer for life. And any of our customers will tell you, our churn is, low single digits, and there's a reason for that. It's because people like working with us, like partnering with us, because we lean into them, we lean into their problems, and we try to solve them. Even when they're not on our roadmap, we also have to sit down and think about how to configure to help those customers drive an ROI. So from a customer perspective, we're heavily customer centric, and that's kind of a philosophy and culture we've had in the business from day one. So if you look at they're the three pillars. We talk about it, but we action it on a day-to-day basis, and that's really important for me as the CEO and co-founder of the business to kind of drive those philosophies through.
No, absolutely. I think you've hit on a really important point, having best of breed in your company, focusing on client problems. Can you tell us a little bit about what problems you do solve in the iGaming industry?
Yeah. So, again, high level, kind of four main things, acquisition. So we're helping the operators acquire, register, deposit, etc., with their customers. We're helping them retain them. All of those kind of life cycle treatments, all right, around day 1, day 3, day 10, etc., and automating and using AI to drive that as well. So it's becoming less manual, more automated, and actually more kind of, that makes sense, press the button. And then it's all around stimulation. So stimulation of big games, because these are real-time events. We're in a real-time event industry, so we need to be able to have automated campaigns at scale with millions and millions of players at any one time, driving that. So stimulation in games, casino, etc., cross-selling, and then growth. That's the whole point. What is the lifetime value? And that doesn't come down just to campaigns. It's not a customer engagement tool. It comes back to actually the philosophy or the approach to both your engagement, your gamification, and loyalty. And what we're seeing with operators around the world now is they've now started to. We've helped shape that in some cases, because we were the first we actually acquired a gamification company about 2 years ago, and instead of integrating it, we actually built it into our product. All right, and that makes a lot of sense. And now the industry is now saying, okay, so you're keeping them side by side, okay, and you have the same kind of internal teams working on both CRM, gamification, and loyalty. So, that kind of really sets us apart. And the problems that, so what are the problems? They're basically, how do I drive my lifetime value? How do I get stickiness or loyalty? And how do I do that in a way that doesn't create silos or drive more cost or drive more time where I can't get time to value? So by, working with a partner like ourselves, you can plug in, and it's not you stand up everything, you stand up a module at a time or what you see fit. But that's how we're, they're the problems we're solving, and that's how operators are now starting to really think about it.
Okay, great, thank you. And do you think you could share with us a recent success story that really highlights the impact of the solution that you're offering?
Yeah, look, so we've about, as I said, about 35 operators around the world. America, you've got the big ones, so the BetMGMs, the Fanatics, the Caesars, etc. Working with yourselves, DAZN, unbelievable, exciting, and Blix, very, very exciting, and the results that's coming out of that, even early on, is hugely exciting. But if you look at some, if you take Betzol, for example, in Brazil, they migrated off another platform, and they drove from moving to one platform to the other 600% increase in revenue within 1 year. Okay, and the cost to serve and the cost to serve was half of what it was elsewhere. So there is a real benefit there. Take a smaller operator, but an iconic operator in the UK, like the Pools, they are doubling from using the free-to-play games we have, right? They are doubling their active cash players and retention on a week-by-week, month-by-month basis. All right, and they're driving 30% more. I think that's the stat: 30% more visitors week on week. So they're the real touch. Really touch. Put your hand in the wound. Results that a company like ourselves are helping partner with operators and driving those successes. But that doesn't happen in isolation, Amy. It's a partner approach. Again, it's like, we can sit down and go, here, there's all these use cases, and that's what a lot of other kind of partner or service providers do. There's the capability, go off and get it done. We don't. We sit down, we put experts in the room, and we go, right, what's the right use cases for your business, your customers, and also the DNA of the data. If you think about AI, there's different DNA in everybody's players. So there's some of the successes that we are driving on a month by month, year by year basis.
That sounds really great. Thanks, Tommy. And how do you see your product offering evolving over the next 1 to 2 years?
Well, look I think it has evolved hugely. So if you look back to where the industry has come from, all right, point solutions, multi-channel, you'd single personalization engine, CDPs. Now we're helping to kind of look at, okay, this needs to be a system, an all-in-one, one-stop shop, we call it one platform system, but modular, so you don't have to take everything at once, all right? And I believe we've done a good, hopefully a better than good job at kind of creating that over the last 7 to 10 years, all right? The next, we look at all complementary solutions, be it build or buy. Okay, we've done 3 acquisitions in the business so far in the last 10 years. But so we're looking at complementary solutions within the industry. So there might be a part of the puzzle that needs to be filled. So and then we have to make a choice whether we build or buy. But I think the real one that everyone keeps talking about, less people doing but still talking about, is kind of AI. And not just machine learning, but AI. So LLMs and LAMs, so large language models and large action models. And what we are calling, and kind of worldwide industry, that agentic layer. So we've been working on that in an early stage, over the last 6 months. So I would watch this space with us on the agent side. The approach that we've taken to machine learning, we have this Infinity AI module within the platform, which is our machine learning module, and we've taken a very different approach to our competitors. It is transparent, it's adaptive, and it is also so you get to see, it's not a black box. You get to see what are the feels and how are the outcomes being driven. We are very big on that because we also are quite big in the financial services industry, and they do not allow black box AI. So we believe that's only a step away from coming in, because the two industries are very similar. They're very highly regulated, massive compliance, etc. So agentic AI is the next layer. We are positioned better than I would think most, definitely most, if not all, companies within this industry, because we spent 10 years building the foundations. So you've got your CDP, you've got your intelligence, you've got your orchestrations, you've got all the logic, you've got the decisioning, you've got the data layer, because you need the data to do all of this, right? So this agentic layer will sit on top. Will it go end to end in the next year or two? No, it won't, because again, highly regulated market, nobody's going to allow their end customer to get a communication that hasn't been approved all the way through. But what it is going to do, and we're very excited about, is getting it in the hands of the CRM executives and the marketing executives, and helping them get more effective, 10x their effectiveness and 10x their efficiency. So they can actually start spending more time on thinking about how can we do creative things to drive ROI and lifetime value, rather than doing an awful lot of kind of setting up campaigns and, you know, monthly, weekly, daily, etc., and then automating them, etc. So the agentic layer for us, you know, is early doors, a lot of learnings to happen, all right. But I think, you know, what we're seeing internally, I think that is going to be hugely exciting over the weeks and months to come. So that's kind of where we're leaning into.
Yeah, that does sound really exciting. I guess the next big question I've got for you, Tommy, is how can businesses stay connected with you?
Well, sorry, we're at nearly every. Unfortunately or fortunately, we're on the road nearly every week, as a famous singer said. But so we're at all the events, all right. Either myself or my team is there. So please look us up. Come to our stands. Come to our happy hours. You know, we do a lot of that. We're a relationship driven, so we're a technology company, but we're a relationship driven business.
Yeah.
It's really important to us. One of the things we think as AI gets ubiquitous in every industry, but specifically here, we think relationships is going to become way, way more important, because trust doesn't go away, and you need more trust as AI kind of becomes ubiquitous through the industry. Yeah. So come to our events. Look me up in LinkedIn. Please connect with me. If I can't help, and sometimes I cannot help, I'll put you into the right people in our business that can help, the experts as we call them. And then obviously, go to our website, extremepush.com, and that's XTREMEPUSH.com. And we'd love to talk to you. You know, we're category leading in this industry. We want to be sustainable of that. We want to help grow operators around the world. That is our mission.
No, thanks so much for joining us today, Tommy. It's been really great to have you. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you very much for having me.